Drafting the Magic features the thoughts and opinions expressed by Christian Ilton, Eric Pessolano, and today's guest, and do not in any way reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company or any of its subsidiaries.
Well, some people are happy after last night. Some people are sad after last night, and we're here to get the band back on the Disney train. All right, let's move on. Be positive about Disney, Eric. Let's go.
Yeah. And what better way to unite the peoples and get us all on the same page than to talk about Lightning Lane? Everybody loves it, right? Don't they love? Not everybody loves it. No.
Anybody who's got $400? Who's got for one day? What? No. Okay.
Oh, right. I hadn't heard any negative reviews. I was just curious.
Oh, this is definitely a hot topic, and here we are talking about it. Eric, we're talking about when to use Lightning Lane, what to use Lightning Lane on, and just to be clear, we don't have to spend $400 to draft today, correct?
No, at least. Oh, I should probably check my bank account. Yeah, no, nothing has gone through, so I think we're
oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. No, but I mean, this is our first real strategic episode. How do you use the tools given to you to navigate your Disney day? And this is one of the tools that you can use to do so, as everybody knows. So you and I talked about this, and you thought, oh, so this is just going to turn out to be our 5 favorite rides. Not so fast, my friend. I think there's a little bit more to it. So I can't wait to get this one going.
We'll have to see. But Eric, I hear we've got a pretty cool guest judge.
Christian, you are absolutely correct. We are thrilled and honored to have Drew Smith, a.k.a. Drew the Disney Dude, joining us here today on Drafting the Magic. Drew, how you doing? Thanks for being here.
What's up, guys? Thank you for inviting me on. We've got a unique topic today, so looking forward to being the judge here.
We got an expensive topic.
That's what we're here for. How do we drain people's pockets? That's the idea. No, Drew comes to us all the way from the great state of Florida. Of course, he's a local there around the Walt Disney World Resort. But we had already told him this was going to be a difficult episode. We're going to throw him for a loop because we're talking Disneyland and DCA today here on the show. But he's very familiar with that. He's cool with it. So, Drew, the first question I have for you is, how did your love for Disney begin? How did you get into what you do? You know, covering big events, the big one now, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, of course, which you've become quite famous for covering the progress on that attraction. So where did all that stem from?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to give credit to my parents for, I think my dad told me that we were at Grand Californian one year and he snuck me out after I was asleep and he took me on It's a Small World. So I think some people would probably relate to that with It's a Small World being their first attraction. So I was fortunate to grow up next to Disneyland Resort, you know, and then we moved to Texas when I was 4. And then one day my dad made a joke when we were then vacationing out here, Walt Disney World, you know, we should move here one day. I didn't take that as a joke. So I guess you could say my love for Disney started out from, you know, just growing up to Disneyland and being fortunate to be there. And then, you know, I guess it just kind of is in me to enjoy the new things and want to share things that I think are valuable. So when it comes to, you know, what I do now with sharing news and updates, and I guess it's just putting all the valuable things in one spot. And I'm fortunate to be able to cover these things and follow them very closely. So from new construction progress to news, any little thing that I think people will be interested in is what I love to share.
Oh, Christian, he has the same origin story as us.
He does.
We also grew up near Disneyland. I don't know. Is Florida in our future?
I've talked about it.
That's how we ended up out here. So.
Drew, where can we find you on the social medias? Let everybody know so they can follow you and find out more stuff about all the new exciting things coming to Disney.
Yeah, so my main home would I would say would be Twitter at Drew Disney Dude. There's like a character limit on Twitter, so I can't do Drew the Disney Dude.
Oh, we're aware.
It's just Drew Disney Dude.
We couldn't fit the in ours either, so it's just at Drafting Magic. We get it.
Yeah, I really wish that you know, you could just put the username that you want. But yeah, X, Twitter, my home is Drew Disney Dude, and then I've started uploading more on YouTube. That's where you can find me at Drew the Disney Dude. So those are my main 2 right now.
I'm all over it already. Hopefully everybody will follow suit.
Thank you.
All right, Christian, we have a very complicated draft here today when it comes to concept. Do you want to explain it today?
Not even a little. You can do that.
I knew you were going to say that. All right, so here's the deal. We're drafting the top 5 attractions from the Disneyland resorts. to help navigate, or using Lightning Lane to help you navigate through your day. So this isn't necessarily our top 5 favorite attractions. This is how you can use Lightning Lane to navigate through your day. I figured we'd bring that up since it's not a divisive topic at all when it comes to Disney.
Nah, that's fine. Yeah. I totally know what I'm doing here. It's fine. We're fine.
No pressure. No pressure.
This is gonna be terrible. We'll see.
Who's got the first pick today, Christian?
You have the first pick today.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Merry Christmas.
All right, let's go over the rules real quick before we get things underway here. So, of course, the first rule, we have to have experienced the attraction, but it's Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, so it's me and Christian. We've done them all.
Yep.
For the most part. Nothing that's going to affect today, I don't think.
What are you talking about? I might take a jumping jellyfish here. I might do it, and I know you haven't been there yet. So,
yeah, I've never been on jumping jellyfish. I don't plan on it.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, I can see what it does with my own eyes from the outside. We are good. Thank you. Second rule, you have to take at least 2 from each theme park, 2 from Disneyland and 2 from California Adventure. And the third rule is those 4 picks, the 2 from each, have to be done within your first 4 picks. You can't just pick 3 out of the gate from Disneyland. You can't pick 3 out of the gate from DCA. Your last pick will be the wild card, and that will kind of be a big determinant, I think. I think that could tip the scales a little bit. So we're adding to the intrigue. That's why I put that rule in there, Christian.
Yes. Add to the intrigue. Well, Eric, deep breath. Okay, let's do it. We are drafting the Magic Disneyland Resort Lightning Lane Chaos. I don't know if it's going to be chaos, but we'll get there. And Eric Pesolano, you have the first pick.
I am torn between 2 things to take at number 1, and it's one from either theme park.
Interesting.
So this is tough for me because when you're using Lightning Lane and all that good stuff, it really could depend on which park has early entry for the day, right? So I'm gonna assume in my scenario here that Disneyland has early entry, and my first pick, and this might shock both of you, but I think it's necessary. I'm taking Indiana Jones at number 1. And here's why. I think rope dropping a certain other attraction that everybody gets up in a tizzy about that may be in the back northwest corner of the park, I think you can wait. I don't think you need to do it out of the gate. And I think as the day goes on, I think you get a waiting time that decreases. I'm not going to mention the attraction. You all know what it is. But at Indy, I mean, that thing fills up almost immediately, and then it's like that all day. And I would say you're lucky if you catch it after a downtime, but there's always a downtime. But you have to be in the right place at the right time. So at number 1, use your Lightning Lane wisely and take Indiana Jones when you walk into Disneyland.
That's an interesting choice. I had no clue you were going to go there. Definitely didn't see that coming. I like it though. That is an attraction that, and honestly, I mean, let's be honest. If you don't use it early, you might not get on the ride that day. It's just one of those rides. So, interesting choice here. I'm interested to see what Drew thinks of this.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana Jones, it's like, obviously I'm local to Disney World, but when I think about those like can't miss attractions for Disneyland, Indiana Jones is one of those that you can't miss, to the point when I was out there for like 6 hours in August, I had to go on it. So I heard what you said about a certain other attraction. I do agree with you there.
Yeah, the line goes down, especially if you can go like right before. Well, we'll get there. Maybe we don't use it. We'll see. maybe it gets used, maybe it doesn't. We'll see. But that brings us into my round 1. And my round 1, I am going the complete opposite of what Eric thought. And I am absolutely getting a Lightning Lane because, especially if I can choose the time, if I can choose that window, which sometimes, it's such a weird thing. But if I could choose, we're doing the perfect Lightning Lane day, I'm making sure that I can go on Radiator Springs Racers right at the sunset when the outdoor area looks beautiful, but then also you still go inside. It really doesn't matter what time of day you're inside the show building. But that is one of my favorite things throughout all of the parks is sunset in DCA. If you're in Cars Land, maybe you can get off the ride fast enough to come out and hear the shaboom moment on the Route 66. But if you can be like right where the waterfall and it's just perfect. Give me Radiator Springs Racers here at number one, Eric.
I didn't know you had all that disposable income. Nice
Well,
pick, my
I
friend.
paid for one. I paid for one.
Yeah. No, I like the pick. That was the one I was juggling with for my first pick, and I went with assuming there was early entry at Disney. If there's early entry at Radiator at DCA, yeah, I'm going Racers number one also.
Absolutely.
Because you're not getting on it in the morning if there's early entry. And if there's not early entry, walk to Cars Land to go to Radiator Springs Racers to rope drop it. Walk.
Anyway, Drew, what do you think of Radiator Springs Racers?
Yeah, I mean, you made a fantastic point about that nighttime environment with this one. I mean, out here, I think the thing that I would compare would be Tron Life Cycle Run, but out there, it's Radiator Springs Racers. So for that reason alone, I mean, if you care about that, which personally I do, that's a big reason to get the Lightning Lane for that, so you have that better experience. Which I mean, it's better. Come on. Yeah, good pick there.
I'm so mad when I went on Tron, it was like 10:30 in the morning, and we didn't get we were like, you're like, oh, I hope I get the thing, but I hope I don't get it that fast.
It's like the boarding group lottery. It's like 1:10 p.m. in the afternoon, and you're like, do I get the group now, or does it? And then you go to get it, and it says no more availability.
Exactly.
But thankfully, we're on standby now.
We're on standby now. Yes. So Eric,
better late than never.
Whenever he gets to experience it, might get to experience it at night.
Yeah, that'll be my goal when I get out there next time. Yeah. I hope to wait till nighttime to have that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And if I have to do multiple days at Magic Kingdom to make it happen, it's you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do.
All right, Eric.
All right, my number two pick. I'm jumping over to DCA for number two because I think this is another attraction that you don't really want to take a gamble on because it can have really long wait times throughout the day, and other times you might get lucky and it's really short. But I don't like to take chances because when I want to ride the attractions that I've come to ride, I'd like to get on them.
Absolutely.
So with my second pick, I'm taking one of Christian's attractions that are close to his heart. So I'm going to go with Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
Oh, my heart.
At number two, because I know there are some days where you walk up and you're like, 90? How did that happen? And other days when you walk up and it's like, 25, that's not bad, but I'm taking no chances. Guardians at number two.
Oh my gosh, that ride you're right, the fluctuation of that ride is unbelievable, and from a back end side, it depends on how many things are running and what's accessible and all that kind of stuff. That's not a bad call. Drew, what do you think of getting a lightning lane for Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those big ones. And I mean, I guess just from speaking from personal experience, when I was out there in August, like I said, I had a very limited time in the park, and that wait time was too long for me to be able to go on. So I guess if I had a lightning lane, hypothetically, I would have been able to go on it, and that's the only way. So I don't blame you for picking that one, because that's, like you guys have said, sometimes I'll see it and I'm like, it's 5 minutes. Just when I'm randomly checking the Disneyland app on the other side of the country. But yeah, I can understand it, because if you don't want to miss it, why stress yourself out on vacation?
Yeah, it's not fun. Not fun stressing out. All right, my round two pick, and this is going to be specifically because I have a child. All right, I got a child. I don't like staying up till midnight when this ride finally loses its line. So give me a lightning lane for Peter Pan's flight earlier in the day. I understand that I could wait until 11:30, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, everyone forgets it exists. But I can't stay up that late sometimes. I'm getting older. I'm losing my mind. Give me a lightning lane for Peter Pan in round two, Eric.
You know, I definitely thought about this to include it on there, and then my PTSD kicked in. We didn't tell Drew this, but Drew, I am a former Fantasyland Attractions cast member. And those mornings when we would open and, you know, they let that rope down, the wave of strollers and backpacks and bobbing heads that came my way just to get there, I'll never get over that. So, but Christian, for your description, that's exactly why you need it. In the morning, just don't go near it. Just wait.
Just wait, or get a lightning lane. There's no reason.
I wouldn't even do the lightning lane in the morning. Like, wait a little bit, get it later if you can. Just avoid that initial rush, because that's that's a harrowing moment.
Absolutely. Drew, what do you think of the chaos around a attraction that for no reason has the hype of everyone?
Yeah, it's I'm glad that you guys brought this one up because Peter Pan's Flight, like, it's a fun ride, but I'm always like, why? Why would you ever burn an hour to an hour and a half of your day for I almost feel like people see a long wait time and they're like, it must be good. They
Mhm.
don't actually understand what the attraction is. Also, with the fact they probably don't know that it's one of those slower capacity loadings.
Mhm.
So I guess if I'm looking at it from a strategy standpoint, simply because it's slower capacity, right? It's not like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, for example. Um, yeah, you can't risk it.
I for some reason love that attraction, but it's not that good. Like it's not it has
Yeah.
no business having the line it always does. But you're right, capacity is a huge thing, and strategy wise in this, yeah, you've got to start thinking about ways you can kind of beat that. So anyway,
The
that's my
the
soapbox.
yeah, the draw is you can fly, right? You're suspended over that's the draw, is you're suspended. You're hovering over everything. You're not just on the ground and going through like a Pinocchio or snow or anything like that.
Mhm.
So I think that's the big draw. And then you get a little bit of a wake me up at the end when you bang your boat into the turn at the unload zone. Those were always fun times. So yeah, there's a little bit of thrill to it too.
Make sure you get a little bit of a at the end. All right. All right, Eric. Well, you are now set for round three. You have done a attraction in both parks. I have done an attraction in both parks. So we are both strategizing this up
Mhm.
kind of squarely.
That's the idea. All right, my third pick. I'm staying in DCA for this
Ooh.
one. I think this one is Lightning Lane necessary at all times in the day as well. Again, because of load and unload, it does take a second, lots of seconds actually, and that's kind of why things get backed up. There's always a long line. Again, same thing, either at rope drop or at park clear out. It's always going to be long, and you're going to need a lightning lane for this. So I am going to go with Toy Story Midway Mania, or Toy Story Mania as we call it out here. At number three, I think it's something everyone should experience. I'm very competitive. Christian knows this. I mean, he is too. And we love that attraction, and it always has itself a long queue. It does get short sometimes, but short for that is usually anywhere between a half hour and 45 minutes, which isn't bad if you don't travel very much. But on a regular basis, sometimes I think can get upwards of an hour or more. So you're going to want a lightning lane for Toy Story.
Yeah, I ain't rope dropping all the way to the back of the park,
No,
buddy. All right, we rope dropping a lot closer to
nope.
the front than that. This is a good one, and it's a good one because it this is one that you always want to hit. You always want to be able to have gone on this. So if you've never been on it, you need to make sure you go on it. More so than some other competitive rides at the theme parks, per se.
That will
Um,
not be appearing on
it
today's
will
show.
not be appearing on this show because I hate them. Um, but there is something to that. Now I will say, go later in the day, maybe around World of Color-ish time. That's the time if you're not doing Lightning Lane, to get in there. But even still, it backs up and load and unload, like you said, it takes a couple seconds for people to stand up, slide out. Then the next person gets situated into the chair. So that's a good pick. Drew, what do you think of Eric taking Toy Story Midway Mania here? One of the best.
Yes, I when you guys said that you like Toy Story Mania, I'm like, this is why we're getting along, and I've known you
Yes.
guys for like 20 minutes because anyone who knows me knows how much I love Toy Story Mania. But yeah, I mean, you guys make great points. It's a little bit of what we touched on already. I also think the fact that this is a family attraction to where anyone can go on it, and if you aren't competitive like we are, and you just want to have fun with an interactive game, I mean, that's something that can appeal to a wide audience. And also the fact that California Adventure, that's more of a headliner than what you'd have over here at Hollywood Studios. So if
Mhm.
you're looking at strategy specifically for California Adventure, then I definitely would include Toy Story Mania there just because it's that park's lineup of attractions.
That
You know, that's an interesting point that you made there about it being a headliner, because I think of Hollywood Studios and, Tower of Terror is what's going to stand out to me the most,
Hmm.
obviously because of its size and everything.
Yeah,
But we
quite
also
literally.
have we also have that here, and I know it's Guardians now, but nobody thinks of Guardians as the headliner attraction at DCA, and Toy Story may just be that. I think maybe Incredicoaster might take over that a little bit, but I mean, Toy Story is certainly much more, I don't know, recognizable, and maybe it's because we have the only Mission Breakout right in the world. So that was an interesting point. I like that.
Yep.
Got me thinking now.
I think it's one of those, like, I don't know. It's one of those that DCA doesn't have that. And Guardians is forgotten because it's kind of past two terrible lands that are currently in the park still. But don't worry, Avengers Campus is going to get better, right? It has to get better, right?
Infinity Defense is going to be a damn good ride.
It better be, let me tell
hope
you.
so.
It is.
Better
It
be.
I-
Okay. Oh, boy.
Maybe it will aid Christian's opinion of that land. Do you
Yes.
see you see what I did there, Christian?
How dare you?
Aid. You see how I did that?
Yeah, Avengers Infinity whatever. So stupid, and Hollywoodland sucks, and everything's terrible, and DCA needs such a facelift, and it's been through it, and it's still not enough. It's fine, whatever. Anyway,
The
yes.
Olympics are going to give it that, I think, but we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see if any of this stuff's done by then. I don't know. They better. I know they said, "Oh, don't worry, construction starts next year." Boy, it better start January 1st. Y'all got a time limit here. Oh boy. All right. So, into round 3 for me. I can go to either park here, but why would I go to DCA if I can get my next DCA pick no matter what? Because Eric's got to go to Disneyland next, so I'm gonna go to Disneyland first. That's called strategy, baby. Anyway, such an interesting place to go here. My favorite part of this is that I get to take what has become my favorite attraction. I absolutely hate waiting in line at Space Mountain. So I'm going to get a lightning lane for it. I don't care if, oh, well, the line gets, I don't care. Do you know how brutal it is standing up there when the sun's beating down? I hate it. Give me Space Mountain's lightning lane here. Give me the fast, high energy. I know it's like, oh wow, he didn't go to Star Wars. Oh wow, he didn't go to Mickey and Minnie's. Yeah, I don't care about those right now. I want to go on my favorite attractions as fast as I can, so that I can then go and worry about all your other mediocre attractions that have gotten so much love for some reason later. Give me Space Mountain here, Eric.
I'm gonna bypass my thoughts on this, and I want to ask Drew a question real quick. Drew, which Space Mountain is better?
Oh boy.
Okay, well, I can't speak here because I truly don't know if I've ever been on Disneyland Space.
Okay, that's fair.
And something when it comes to like rides, I just don't speak on them unless I've experienced them. This is not to go on a tangent here,
Fair.
but
Neither do we.
something that I am very adamant on is when you think about a movie, right? It's a flat screen, and people will somehow make thoughts off movies based off like what they see on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
Or sometimes, like even with movies, people won't say, they'll say, "Oh, I'm going to go see it," and that's just a flat screen, right? But when it comes to theme park rides, where it's 360 immersion, they then review it beforehand, which is the exact opposite. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
100% true.
So I can't speak on Space, but I mean, I feel like from what I've heard, people like Space at Disneyland more.
All those people are wrong, by the way.
Thank you, Drew. Thank
all
you.
those people are wrong.
Okay.
That's all I needed.
On my next on my next trip to Disneyland, I'll be sure to go on it.
Is it better themed? Yes. Is it a better roller coaster? Absolutely not. There, I said it.
I mean, I love ours out here. I can say that. I didn't used to like it, but once I went on, I'm like, this is zippy. This is fun.
Yep.
And I like that it's dark. Like it's actually dark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What were you going to say about it? Have I been on something?
Have you been on Matterhorn?
Yes,
Okay. So
the
Matterhorn.
memories I have on Matterhorn is just getting out and just being like, what did I just go on? That was so crazy.
Yes. So the vehicles are the same as Magic Kingdom's Space Mountain. They're bobsleds. They're basically bobsleds. So that's kind of where that, and it's a dual track, right?
Yep.
Matterhorn just weaves in and out of the mountain, and Space Mountain is just contained inside of the building in its entirety.
Yeah.
And our Space Mountain is very dark. it's very dark.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, Nope,
But
that's all I need.
when it comes to the pick though, I guess if I should comment on that, I mean,
Oh yeah, we should probably
it
do that, huh?
it
Yeah,
is
sorry.
Space Mountain, so I mean, they have single rider right now? I don't know if they. I feel like it goes test mode and not test mode. But I guess that also could depend on party size and what your family wants to
Mhm.
do and the side by side seating. So I
Side by
mean,
side's a big thing. Yep.
yeah, at the end of the day, it is Space Mountain. So can I blame you for taking it? No.
Oh,
But I guess if you care about the which one's better and do you want to take time out of your day to do that, and oh, I went on that there, so I don't have to do it here, then all those things could come and play there. So that's
That's
definitely
true.
a personal one.
Ooh, that's true. Didn't think about this, Eric.
See, this is
I'm
why we
thinking
have
deep here. Hey, I'm gonna judge.
this is why we get experts on the show,
I
Chris.
know. Yeah,
Hey,
I know.
I'm just a Disney dude.
I love that.
All right, round 4 now, huh?
Round 4.
Okay, okay. I have to go to Disneyland. We've established
You
that.
you do. You have to.
I've already taken
You
two.
have to.
I don't have a choice.
You have to go to Disneyland. What a first world problem. Anyway.
Speaking of disposable income.
Yeah.
All right. My 4th pick. I too will be going to a roller coaster because everybody in the planet should experience Thunder Mountain one way or another. This is another one that can have some very fluctuating times, but even when it doesn't, I don't mind using a lightning lane because in the queue you're not missing too much if you don't. You're going to take the shorter path. You're pretty much going to walk the same path everybody else does. It's not like other attractions where if you use lightning lane, maybe you don't get to see the entire queue. And for Thunder, I really don't think it's all that important. But you want to get on that wildest ride in the wilderness. So give me Thunder Mountain at number 4.
That's a good one. That's we'll talk a little bit more about missing cues in a little bit, because there are certain cues on here that I think we're not taking because or attractions because you'd miss a significant part of the queue. But regardless, Drew, what do you think of Big Thunder Mountain here in round 4?
Yeah, I mean, how can you say no to Big Thunder Mountain, especially with, at least as of now, I mean, Big Thunder is the superior Big Thunder in the domestic parks, I would say. I mean, you guys got the retrack in that finale with all the dynamite, so it's like
Mhm.
for me, I would do that because we're not going to have that here till no, not next summer, 2 summers from now.
2 summers, yeah.
Yeah, 2 summers from now. So yeah, I mean it's a classic, right? You just can't say no to Big Thunder. And I feel like even if, as of right now, even if we had that finale, just the way it's staged in Disneyland is even different. Like out
Mhm.
here, I guess right now we have the Rivers of America, but we're not gonna have that soon, which I'm still not happy about. But like, yeah, I mean, just even something as simple as the way the ride is staged in the location of it and the environment, that would make me want to go on it. And just the track layout is unique in certain places too. So
Mhm.
yeah.
It is a lot easier to breathe at our load station up here in California. I know because once you go down into the
Ours
depths,
is it's like a sauna.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nightmare. You just I don't get claustrophobic, but even sometimes I'm like, who approved this?
right. It is
Mhm.
very tight down there. Yeah, especially when the lanes start to converge down in the mine. I
Yeah.
don't know what is it. Is it the mine shaft down there? I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe that, but it's what it feels like.
How great
Yeah.
would it be with whenever they reopen it, it's just a completely air conditioned facility.
That's all they did was just re-condition through.
Oh my goodness. All right. So my round 4, I have to go to DCA here.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I'm actually kind of between 3 attractions. If I'm in the middle of the summer, Grizzly is at least being considered. Because that line is ridiculous during the summer,
Yeah, it can be.
but it's not summertime, even though it's always hot in Southern California, seemingly. So we'll push that aside. So the 2 that I'm between in DCA are the Golden Zephyr and the Orange Stinger. Oh wait, it's not even called that anymore. Man, I messed up the joke. Regardless, no, I'm not going on Silly Symphony Swings or the Golden Zephyr. The 2 I'm actually in between here on are Soarin' Around the World / Over California, whatever, and the Incredicoaster. But I will never in my life be caught getting a lightning lane for the Incredicoaster because that's the fastest moving line at the Disneyland Resort. If you get in line there, you're nuts. That's what, or if you get a lightning
Yeah.
line there, you're nuts. Give me Soarin' just because Soarin' for some reason gets really long, despite its capacity. soaring, you can be back, and if you get wrapped around the building and you're looking at where cast members usually hang out, because there's weird looking tables there because they don't pay for nice ones. Anyway, if you're stuck back there, man, that line takes forever for some reason, and it's really the outdoor portion. Once you're inside, things start moving a little bit quicker. But also, you have certain stages you have to go, and you've got to wait outside for Patrick, and then you've got to wait through the Patrick thing. That whole line seems so segmented. It's so much nicer if you can just walk in with a lightning lane all the way through. Give me soaring around the world here, Eric, in round 4.
Well, you know better than anyone, right? You used to work at that attraction. How many guests can fit in one show, right? Somewhere around 90 something,
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, it's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a lot. And it's not so much that it has a big capacity. It's you're herding cattle, right? You got to get all 90 whatever of those people in the right place. You got to make sure their bags are underneath and all their loose articles, especially
Nice work, pal.
those little beauties, right? Get them underneath there. So from a cast member standpoint, you are literally herding all these cattle to get them into the right seat, and some people sit in the wrong seat, and then there's not enough room for this person, but you counted right, and you're shifting everybody around. So I think that's why it gets really long. And you can correct me if I'm wrong because you worked it and I didn't. That's just what I'm seeing. That when you're doing all of that, and then every single show you're rotating, plus while all that is happening, you do have to cater to the lightning lane folks who are walking in. So now your standby queue is backing up even further, which we know is a symptom of lightning lane and not necessarily a cure. And that goes for every attraction, but it seems more amplified at Soarin' than anywhere.
Oh my gosh, I remember being yelled at for letting X amount of fast passes in at the time, and
Yeah,
Lightning Lane's probably even worse than the fast pass system was at that kind of merge section area. So no, I mean it again for a ride that has so much capacity. You're right. There's so much that has to happen to go right, and I mean you and I know, Eric, and anybody who's a former cast member will know too. You have these efficiency tests where if you can do everything as fast as, or if you can do everything as safe as possible, then do it quicker. Soaring's a tough one. It's a tough one to get all of those people to comply at the exact same time. So yeah, use a Soarin' lightning lane, even though I do think you got better options. When it comes to DCA and you're boiling down to the top 4, Soarin's on that list, Drew.
Yeah. Valid points. And also kind of to add on what you already said, but like out here at Epcot, they built a third theater. So that helped desperately with our capacity to the point where I feel like, unless you're looking at like a holiday weekend or New Year's or Christmas, it's like you're not going to see that wait time being crazy. When they brought back Soarin' over California for the 100th, it was a little bit different. But even then, I was able to go on it multiple times when it was going away, like that final night, no one was there because we have 3 theaters.
right.
So when it comes to specifically Disneyland Resort and, kind of like what I said earlier with Toy Story Mania, it's definitely valid because of the situation at DCA and how it stacks up in that lineup of attractions. So I would say with that same point with what I said earlier.
And that we're not putting in a new theater because we're putting a Portos there. So, we're focused on food. We don't care about efficiency and guest happiness. We're going more food at the Disneyland Resort.
And our Soarin' is in a building that really can't be expanded.
It would be very tough.
Yeah. They would have to build a tunnel to another building, basically.
Yeah, it's underground. I mean, the majority that you see most of that attraction is underground. So and let me tell you, we didn't always get to walk up the ramps, man. We were taking the stairs down there.
Boy.
Whew, anyway.
Oh boy. Well, at least you got your steps in. That's
round 5, Eric.
4 down, 1 to go.
4 down, 1 to go. Where do I go? I can go to either part because this is my wild card pick.
Tiana's Bay Adventure. No, just kidding.
Right. We ran by the time this show is aired. I don't know. Are we making
still not open?
Date? Nope. Still not open yet? All right. Nope. I didn't know. We're a week or 2 away or something like that?
This comes out the day after the election. So hope you all are either happy or sad or something.
That's right. We talked about that. So what are we? Literally the week before. So hey, enjoy Tiana's next week, everybody.
Yeah, we're almost there. Anyway.
All right. So my last pick, I think this is something that man, this one's tough because we talk about Runaway Railway, but that's one where you could miss a lot of queue.
I cannot do a lightning lane on Runaway Railroad.
Yeah, it's hard, and that's one where you almost have to bite the bullet and just wait in the entire queue. So I'm gonna scratch that from my list. I had it on there as maybe am I gonna need it? I don't really know. So my lightning lane selection, and this can help you save some time because it's another one that at different points could have a very long queue, especially during the holidays. Christian now knows where I'm going with this. And it's also one where you will not miss a lot of the queue. You get to walk just alongside everybody else for the most part. And who knows, maybe that will change soon. We don't really know what the plan is. We'll find out. But I'm taking Haunted Mansion at number 5 as I'm going back over to Disneyland. Because you can efficiently use it if that queue, got extended out into what used to be where the old fast pass machines were. Who knows what that strategy is going to look like queue wise once they reopen that whole area.
True.
I like Haunted Mansion at number 5 to help you bypass, even if it's just 30 minutes, you're going to want to use it over there.
Yeah, you're gonna. It's funny. There's a couple of attractions over there that, for some reason, their queues sometimes kiss each other, and you're just like, "This was the wrong day to come to Disneyland." So I'm excited that Haunted Mansion's finally gonna have, some sort of extra area to contain a queue that doesn't disrupt a walkway. That's also a train station. That's also I'm so happy there's going to be some sort of order over there. So this is a good one. Again, not really sure how much queue you're now going to miss with that not fast pass.
Strike
Lightning
one.
lane.
Strike one.
Not sure how much you're going to miss here. So that would be my only hesitation. But as of now, we don't really know what it looks like. And if you're just going off of what previously was, you missed nothing. You missed the walkway outside. So this is a good pick. Drew, what do you think of taking a lightning lane at Haunted Mansion to maybe not have to wait next to the train station / also on top of Pirates of the Caribbean / also somehow in front of the teacups?
/ also goes through a salt dome now, right?
Yeah.
I love how no one talks about that. But yeah, I mean, if I were going to Disneyland, I would absolutely do this because Haunted Mansion out there, that is Haunted Mansion to me. Not that I dislike ours, but when I think about Haunted Mansion and I think about like the flagship Haunted Mansion, that's the one that I'd want to go on, to where even though I've gone out on it out here very fortunately more times than I can remember, if I want to go on it out there, absolutely. And I think that I would be more focused on just getting on the ride and seeing Hatbox Ghost outside of the attic, and it just feels like classic Walt Disneyland. So I can see that because again, it's Haunted Mansion. It doesn't really need an explanation in my mind.
Yeah, Mansion's great, Eric, and I didn't know if you were talking about It's a Small World, which also can suck during the holidays.
Real bad. Yeah.
Like that during the holidays, if we're doing strictly a holiday show, Small World's at the top of its list because that queue sucks.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you are doing it during the day and it's a balmy 97 degrees on a Sunday in December. But no, Mansion's a good one. I'm very interested to see what it looks like, how it turns, but a good one to take a lightning lane on. And that brings me
real quick.
Oh,
I just thought of there's a little rumor floating around that maybe for Disneyland's 70th anniversary, that Disneyland's going to get a brand new Bride animatronic too. So that would, I mean, if we get an A1000 Bride, then it's not even a competition at that point.
That'd be nuts. That'd be nuts.
So we'll see, but I do think that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think you're right.
Now, I will tell you, Drew, that my number one attraction doesn't accept Lightning Lane. Eric well knows that I love Starbucks. So if I could have a lightning lane to the front of the market house, we'd be there, especially in the morning. That's the longest line you're waiting in all day.
Yeah, I mean, even out here. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I took pleasure in hitting up every single Starbucks at the Walt Disney World Resort, at least in the parks. And this is called the Red Trolley Cafe. Just give me my coffee.
I don't care what it's called.
I'm not settling for Joffrey's. There, I said it. Anyway,
you and I don't agree on a ton of stuff, and I could not agree with you more on that.
I also don't love Starbucks coffee, but it's better than Joffrey's.
Better than Joffrey's.
Anyway,
Mic drop.
Bye.
And we just lost our Joffrey sponsorship. Okay.
There that goes.
And-
All right.
Cut the footage, cut the footage.
Cut the footage, turn off the cameras. All right, so I get to go one last place here.
No pressure, no
Um,
pressure.
and the submarines with Nemo is very tempting. Oh, it's so tempting to do, but
You're the
um,
worst. Just the worst.
can you imagine? Hi, I'd like to use my lightning lane. And the cast member's like, why? Oh gosh.
It's your first visit to Disneyland by chance?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. Is this your first? I think you need a first time button. Nobody would ask for that.
I am going to go, and this is strategy purposes only. I don't even love this attraction. But the thing I hate more than this attraction is the queue for this attraction. And you want to talk about getting people to stand in line and then figure out how to sit down, buckle up, and sometimes they don't even know how to get that car moving on their own. Give me Autopia here because that line is awful. That line is so bad. And if it's a long day, if it's a full day where they're like zigzagging around all up that stupid thing that they built, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. Give me a lightning lane for Autopia so that I don't have to wait in that godforsaken line with all those fumes and the sun beating down. Have I mentioned I hate it yet?
We'll get around to it eventually.
Eric, what do you think of this?
I think you are, that's the name of this game. We're not necessarily picking our favorite attractions. It's what Lightning Lane will be most useful for. And boy, will it be useful for this one. I'll tell you that much right now. Yeah, I don't remember the last time I waited in that queue during the daytime because of how hot it gets out
Oh,
there.
it's so bad.
And plus, our nice and eco-friendly vehicles that are running out there too, causing all that other smog doesn't make it any cooler. Yeah, no, I think that's a good pick because it'll get you in there almost as quickly as you still have to wait outside for a little bit because you're not going to go right up to the front, but at least you don't have to go through the whole thing.
Dude, how did Rise of the Resistance not get picked on this list? Anyway, Drew, go ahead. Tell us your thoughts on Autopia
I could
first.
not agree more because I vividly remember when I was out there in 2015 for Disneyland's 60th. Well, I don't know why, but one of those core memories I have is how brutal that queue was on that upper observation area. And I'm like, why am I waiting for this? It just feels like you guys said, people, they're not aware of that the first car backs up everyone else and then it just snowballs on, and it's one of those things where you get one person and you're screwed. So like you guys said, not that we would ever like go out of our way to go on Autopia by any means.
Nope.
When it comes to Lightning Lane usage, yes,
that's
like, enough on Autopia.
brutal.
Oh yeah. No, it's especially in the midday. No, thank you. That is a nighttime attraction only for me nowadays. All right, Christian, that's the entirety of the draft there. We've got our 5 selections in. Now, before we have Drew pick a winner, I want to send it over to Drew and have him give us maybe some selections that we did not select. Is there anything we missed that you thought we should have picked?
Great moments with Mr. Lincoln. I know it's going to be there.
I mean, I think one you mentioned that, again, we have it out here at Disney World, so it's like some people might not care about it, some people would. But again, it's a fantastic attraction regardless, and that's one that's going to have a long wait time pretty much all the time. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. I mean, you just can't, there's no arguing with that. So, I mean, for Disneyland, I would definitely think that. I mean, I know this is releasing before Tiana's opens, but once Tiana's is on standby and once word gets out a little bit that Disneyland's, I think, is going to be regarded as the better version, just from what I've been told in the videos that are now out, which just literally it just came out as we've been recording this. So I think that looking a little bit into the future, Tiana's will be there. And then going over to California Adventure, I think you guys kind of nailed it with Radiator Springs Racers, Soarin', and Mission Breakout. Those are the big ones.
No Monsters Inc. on that list for you?
Well, I mean, I guess if you're looking at strategy, Monsters Inc., the standby time's kind of been killed from the introduction of Lightning Lane.
True. Yeah.
I've seen a ton of people complain about that. But I don't think Monsters Inc. has much time left for our world. If with these four new rides coming over to California Adventure, I feel like either Coco or Pandora is going over there. It just feels inevitable, even though that's not official. So yeah, I mean, you guys kind of hit the nail on the head between both of you with when it comes to strategy and attractions that are sought after.
Mhm.
Those are the main ones. But
I will point out that the reason, and I can't speak for Christian, but I'll speak for myself, is that the reason I left off Rise is because the wait times have stabilized for an attraction of its size. And I think that most of the time now you're seeing it sit around 45 minutes. And
interesting.
there's it does get high. It does get up over that hour mark.
Yeah.
But for most of the day, it's finding its way to stabilize, and even toward the back end of the day, it's lowering.
Mhm.
Which, hey, weird what happens when you switch to standby.
Yep.
But it's been working, and I don't think it's necessary anymore.
Mhm. I would say it was never necessary ever, but that's me.
Yeah, and especially since it's on single pass, so you have to pay more for it anyway.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep. I've already shelled out the money for Radiator Springs Racers, so
Yeah.
I didn't have money in the pocket for Star
You're
Wars at that point. But no, I remember the first time, and I'll full disclosure, the first time I got to go on Rise of the Resistance, I got to go on it about 15 times in 2 hours because I was at a cast preview, where we could just kind of keep getting back in line. But I kept saying to myself, I probably wouldn't wait more than an hour for this. And if it's your first time, you need to wait for it. But after that, you get to a point where like, okay, an hour is kind of the limit. It's been under that recently, and that's why I'm okay leaving it off the list because I am not okay waiting 15 minutes for Autopia. But I can brave the hour for Rise of the Resistance. Well, Eric,
Hey, Christian, I'm looking at it right now. 65 minutes, and I know people don't know when we
gasp.
recorded this, but it's not that bad.
Not terrible.
Not that bad.
Yeah, it's really not for the level of ride that it
And
is.
for the queue, for
Right,
the amount you get out of that queue, I can wait that long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
right.
you'll be engaged. All right, recap time.
The recap time. Let's do it. Run down the list for those people at home that are just listening and not watching on this amazing visual medium that we have here on Drafting the Magic.
Shout out YouTube. Thank you for that.
Yep.
All right. So I had the first pick today, and I started off with Indiana Jones at number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout at number 2, Toy Story Mania at 3, Thunder Mountain at 4, Haunted Mansion at 5. Christian went Radiator Springs Racers at number 1, Peter Pan's Flight number 2, Space Mountain number 3, Soarin' number 4, and Autopia at number 5. And I will toss it over to Drew, who won this episode of Drafting the Magic.
All right. So I've been looking down a lot. That's because I actually had a little list here that I made myself to think think through this. But again, I think that you guys started this premise as by strategy, right? So with strategy, I mean, both these strategies work. If I'm looking at Disneyland though, and I'm at Disneyland and I'm putting money into going on these rides, what is the better lineup of attractions specifically for Disneyland? Eric, I've got to go with you, man.
That's fair. That's very fair.
It's just like when I'm looking at Radiator Springs Racers, Peter Pan, Space Mountain, Soarin', and Utopia for Lightning Lane strategy, it's a damn good strategy. But I can't say no to Indiana Jones, right? Disneyland exclusive. And when we get it out here at Disney World, it's even going to be unique out there still. When you look at Mission Breakout, you guys have the only Rocky Raccoon animatronic, and that's an entirely different vibe out here. Toy Story Mania, even though out here I could go on it whenever, I still like it out there because it's on that boardwalk. Big Thunder, again, like I talked about earlier, it's a Disneyland classic the way it's staged over out there. Haunted Mansion, it's just the better Haunted Mansion. So if I'm looking at strategy for both, the strategy works great. But then that's where I go a little level deeper to the attractions themselves. And I think your lineup of Indiana Jones, Guardians, Toy Story, Big Thunder, and Haunted Mansion, that all 5 of those are great for Disneyland Resort specifically. So I would spend money on that personally.
I should have known that I should not have taken a Cars ride for someone who lives near Walt Disney World. It's still, I don't know. No. As we were reading the list, I'm like, there's strategy on both sides. I think we did this perfectly for strategy.
For sure.
So at that point, it does kind of just boil down to the attraction.
Yeah. Now becomes a tiebreaker. You're right, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason you got no exclamation of jubilation from me is because you got more of a sigh of relief because I was on a long losing streak and I needed to figure this out. So thank you.
Well, I guess I could say I'm unbiased because I do not know the lore of drafting the Magic by any means, and I just
See?
met you guys virtually. So this was
See?
unbiased. But
And
like,
that's the idea.
if you guys were putting the list in front of me right now, and I was on the plane to Disneyland, I mean, I'm looking at better attractions that I can get out there that I don't have here. So, well, Soren, it's a fantastic ride. I don't need to do it.
You don't have Autopia, you have Tomorrowland Speedway.
Well, I still like ours because I've got Tron in the back. So
Oh,
take
that's
that,
true.
Disneyland.
There's
that.
not much good about ours.
What do we have? That little Honda robot out there?
We have the Honda robot that they
Yeah.
don't sponsor and they don't create anymore. But
Awesome.
you
Oh,
can also
geez.
get the hell scared out of you by the monorail if you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah, when they hit the horn. Yeah, hitting the horn coming over there on that turn by Small World. Yeah. Oh, that's the. Or when they blow a tire on the monorail coming over there. You ever been around there for that, Christian?
Yep.
Yeah, you've heard a tire blow on monorail.
Nothing.
Sounds like a bomb went off in the area. Oh yeah, those are real fun. I think I remember one day I had a cast member hit an e-stop button on an attraction because they thought they heard an explosion, and they did, but it was just a tire on the monorail. Oh my goodness, it happens. Well, Drew, thank you so much for your expertise on this topic. I know this one was a very difficult one because of the strategy. But before we let you go, one more time, let everybody know where we can find you on the socials and maybe some projects you got coming up here in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've hinted at it a few times, but over these next 5 years of projects, from everything at Disneyland, there's a ton out there, to even stuff with the 70th that hasn't been announced yet. Should be coming soon. I'm hoping that on Walt Disney's birthday on December 5th, that's when they go with all the reveals out there. So I'll definitely be covering everything over on Twitter, Drew Disney Dude, and then YouTube. I'm gonna go all out into the coming years at Drew the Disney Dude. So if you guys are interested in news, updates, on-site stuff, then I guess I'm your guy for these next 5 and 10 years.
You are the guy, and I wouldn't have reached out if you weren't, because
I appreciate it. I do my best. And it's
watching your coverage on Tiana's. I mean, obviously it was done first over there. We hadn't seen it here until today, for the most part. But everything you do is great. Keep it up, man, and we will definitely be following along.
Yeah, like I said earlier, there's nothing I love more than, I guess it's just like a part of me, like you kind of talked about earlier, like what made you start doing this? It's just, I don't know, it's just what I've always loved, and following these little things when they get revealed, and then every little thing leading up to opening day, and then finally seeing everyone react to the final product. Which it's kind of funny that we're talking about this today. I know that this isn't airing for a couple weeks, but I've been like so anxious to see how Disneyland's Tiana's looks, and for these last 4 years now when they announced it to today. So that's what I do. That's what I love. That's who I am. And even though, I might not dive into Lightning Lane strategy as much, it is valid when it comes to Disney with how complicated these vacations are. Even though I am mostly positive towards the company, that doesn't take away that I'm well aware of the very valid feedback with some of these things. So strategy does matter. And I wish that the parks were easier to experience than they are. The unfortunate reality is, as long as people spend money at the parks, nothing's going to change, right? You got to speak with your wallet. So as creators, I think that the best thing that we can do is do our best to make people have a better vacation. That's how I view it.
Yep. So just go find Drew, find all the news with Drew.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
And then when you want to fight about it, come to Drafting the Magic.
Yeah. That's what we're here for, to bring everyone together over a debate.
Yes.
I like how you're wearing a DuckTales shirt as we're talking about a paid line skipping service.
Don't think that wasn't intentional there. This is my guy.
Oh my gosh.
Don't drop any of those pennies. Nope. We need every single one of them because Disney has no money.
None whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, Drew, thanks again, and we appreciate it. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon. And
yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. This was a fun and unique conversation with how much I've been talking about a certain princess attraction all year.
We love it. Take care, man. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
All right, back on the winning side of things. I needed that. Two games, 2 drafts. I don't know how we call this. But anyway, my losing streak is over. 2 is way too many in a row. I've had enough of that. So
yeah. Remember that? Yeah. Remember that whole thing where I was like, oh well, this is just choosing your favorite attractions because all your favorite attractions have lightning. And you're like, no, there's strategy. And I was like, okay. It came down to, well, strategy's out the window. Here's the best, because both strategies were fantastic. Now naturally, if I had just gone boom, 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 you'd have been like, that's a terrible strategy. So
Yeah.
Eric wins. So either way, I think I was going to lose.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
son of a gun.
look, we both know that place inside and out. So it was literally a matter of preference, which I guess all of our drafts are really, but um, this was I think this one may be even a little bit tighter than Drew led on to believe, to be
Mhm.
honest with you.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
mean, I took Autopia at the end. I didn't expect to win, but also that line sucks. So especially, oh my gosh,
yeah,
heat of the summer up
yeah,
there
it's
trying to
not great.
breathe. Can you imagine if those cast members didn't get hazard anyway? Um,
Not great. I think you and I were talking, and Drew was talking too, and pardon me for my mind going out the window and I can't remember things. I don't know if
that's
we
fine.
talked about it on the show or if it was off the air talking to
That's
him,
fine.
but we were talking about the Big Thunder Mountain queue in Florida, how
Mhm.
theirs goes, down into the mine or whatever they consider it, but how you can't even breathe down there.
Yeah.
I mean, as rough as that one is, which I think is one of the worst environments and on all queues that I've ever been in, even though I kind of like the concept. Autopia is infinitely worse in the summer in California because, like you said, you have no protection. There's nothing there. You're just baking.
Yeah, you're just
And
watching
then,
cars talk on a stupid video screen.
yeah, and then after all that, your reward is you get to sit on a moving lawnmower. I mean, that
Mhm.
is just,
Yep.
boy, what a day.
I have the beep beep from Autopia on that like video screen that is ingrained in my memory, man. Holy sm whatever. Anyway,
I remember when they first redid it and they put the big video screen up there,
yep.
right? And that whole area, it was like daytime at all
Hmm.
times, no
Yep.
matter what time it was.
And then they haven't replaced that screen since.
Nope, nope. It just looks like a big old light bright sitting up there.
Hmm.
Really.
Oh boy, Autopia. We could have a whole episode dedicated to Autopia. I
You
don't know what
really
we would
could.
choose, but we would complain about it the whole time. Anyway,
That's what it would be. What are your most tolerable aspects of
you know what I think is
Autopia?
stupid? The Osmo robot that's not even in production anymore from Honda sitting there.
Did you ever well, you worked at Innoventions, you remember the
I
show.
worked that show.
I remember the first time I sat in that theater and that thing walked out on stage.
Uh,
I came this close to getting up and running out of the theater.
yep. Yep. Yeah, that thing was as a Innoventions cast member, I got to see that do a couple more things than the public did. But I
Yeah.
also got to see the behind the scenes of it, and I was like, oh, we're fine. We're fine for now.
Oh, okay. All right.
A
All right.
couple years from now, maybe, but right now this thing ain't going anywhere. Um, but man, I remember the first time I saw that show. That was
Yeah.
that was wild. But now
Remember,
he's just
look at his backpack. I'm like, that's where all of his functions are.
yep.
Everything, the battery,
Yep.
like motherboard, everything is in there.
Oh yeah, everything's. But now he's just an ornament on an attraction that shouldn't be in there anymore. But it's gonna get electric. Yay!
Yay.
Come
Mhm.
on, just rip it out. Like, and I
Yeah,
get, I get that
it's
it, especially with, Magic Kingdom getting rid of the Rivers of America. Now it's kind of be Disneyland that has that, and I don't think Tomorrowland Speedway has a long life on it at Magic Kingdom because they're opening all this car stuff in the same theme park. I think Tomorrowland Speedway, especially if you go over there and you see Tron and everything else looks great over there, and then there's
yeah,
Tomorrowland Speedway. And
yeah.
I'm wondering if Autopia is going to be another one of those, oh, it's only at Disneyland. And I'm like, but I don't want it here.
Yeah, I don't think they have the attachment here
I hope not.
that they do with Rivers of America here,
I
right? I
hope
mean,
not.
obviously, but there has to be. I mean, ripping that thing out is got to be expensive.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
I'd imagine that's part of. Hey, it still works, right? It's not great.
If it
The
ain't broke.
kid, the kids still love driving. That's probably why it hasn't been touched yet, and it's why we always say the whole Tomorrowland project is way down the line. Get everything else out of the way first. You have to figure Disneyland Forward has been in the plans for decades now. That there was some concept of an expansion,
Mm.
right? So once all that is done, I think that's when we finally see Tomorrowland get what it needs.
I just want to go buy a $400 lightning lane, take it to Autopia first. First thing I do. You could go on Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. You can go on Radiator Springs Racers. No. My $400 thing, I'm going to Autopia, and then I'm going back to the front of the line. That is a 6-minute wait at the time. I'm going to scan it again. They're going to be like, no. And I'll be like, I paid $400 and you're not going to let me walk on to Autopia twice? What are you, nuts?
Don't you want this? I feel like you want people here.
What if I traded my Rise of the Resistance for another Autopia? No, sir, we can't do that. You're the problem. Anyway.
Oh my goodness, those poor cast members.
I've seen some videos that have come out of the the $400 thing, and it's all the influencers that are like, oh,
Yeah.
is this worth it? And then they're all at the end, they're like, I mean, if you have stupid money, do stupid things with it. But
It's so tough to I don't know what word I can use here to not get in trouble, but
yeah.
to be an influencer and having to try to peddle that and say give an honest
Mhm.
review of it's just too hard.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you got stupid money, do stupid things.
Yeah.
But if you don't have stupid money, don't do stupid things. That's my PSA. Your Disneyland trip ain't worth putting your
Spend them.
family. Let's see. If I have a family of 5,
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
You don't want to spend $2,400 or
My favorite part
$2,000.
my favorite part of this whole thing is that it gets you Rise of the Resistance, but it also gets you on Finding Nemo. It's
Yeah, there's no
it's just ridiculous.
and it's funny because the original Fast Pass Plus system tiered everything.
Mhm.
Remember that when they
Yeah.
did take that into consideration.
I'll say I miss Fast Pass Plus. That was
I think it just got to a point where they were like, just forget it. Just nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what rides are equal to the other ones. Just
Mhm.
put them all in the same thing.
I miss.
I mean,
that was the best of Disney World trips, was when we woke up at 4 in the morning and just
Yeah.
reserved our Fast
Yep.
Passes. Knew we were going on Everest. Boom, done.
Now I know the single pass and multi-pass kind of divides it a little bit, but I mean, what out here? There's only 2 attractions on that, or 3.
Yeah, no, just 2.
It's just 2
they
now.
announced that Tiana's is not going to be a high thing, which is probably
Well, Splash, I mean,
probably not what they wanted to think about. I mean, at least in your opening season, especially with Christmas, and you probably wish that attraction was in that tier if you're Disney, but it just didn't.
It's gonna have crazy queues for about
a week and a half.
Yeah, it's not,
and then
it's
it's going to be back to normal.
It's gonna go back to Splash. I mean, it's not gonna be as crazy, and they know that, and that's why it's on multi-pass. It's
cool
just a new
animatronics.
Splash.
Cool animatronics.
I know they're broken already, but they haven't even opened yet. I don't know when we're posting this episode. I don't think it's open yet.
I don't think it's open officially, but enough people have seen the videos already. And my favorite thing is that it's very clear that it was definitely designed for Disneyland, and Disney World kind of got its shoot in.
Yeah. And also, I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode of Beyond the Draft, apparently, because that's what we've turned.
That's all it is. We're just talking about different Disney topics. Speaking of, did you see the Tokyo Splash Mountain? Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so I broke my losing streak. I'm back on the winning side of things. And we move on to the next.
Why are we trying to do the news? We suck at the news. We suck at the news. Anyway.
Yeah, we're not great at news.
Let's just move on.
I'm not really great at fantasy either. Fantasy sports. So
no comment.